I really enjoy the experience of playing on an orchestra. Super early in my career, within the first 6 months, I made the decision to say, I want to do what I do, but on a different scope. You take one step back to give two forward.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the first episode of our Technically Her podcast. This is not just another career talk. We created this as a space to share your experiences, discuss do's and don'ts, but frankly, we're not huge believers of don'ts, and inspired to take a leap after all. My name is Yana, and I'm a part of the employer brand team at Semrush, an international tech company known for its products. Semrush tools help marketers all over the world to rank better on search and get ahead of their competitors. At Semrush, we've been supporting women in technical roles since the beginning of times, pretty much. But even today, unfortunately, it feels like not all the stereotypes surrounding women in technical roles or in tech companies are completely gone. So this will be a space where our women in tech, our own Semrush colleagues, will share their life and career stories, all so different and unlike another, but with one thing in common. They will show you that the limits, if any, are only in your head. And I couldn't be happier for our guest today for the pilot episode. It's our HR director at Semrush, Angelina Gentili. Angelina, welcome.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you for inviting me over. And thanks to all of you for listening to today's podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited for our conversation today, and let me explain why. First of all, Angelina is a world citizen, a truly, truly inspiring colleague from my own team, from my own department, whose career is another proof that there are no limits, no borders, because Angelina's career started in Chile, where she's originally from, developed through the United States, and landed into Europe, where we are currently. And Angelina is located in Barcelona. And actually, yeah, Angelina has been with Semrush for over a year. It feels like forever. It feels like quite a lot of things have been achieved and done, right?
It does indeed. It does. Yeah, I can't believe it. It was recently a year anniversary. Super happy and honored to be here, but more importantly, to have seen and witnessed so much transformation, during this time. So yeah, enjoying it every single minute.
Constantly transforming. Constant changes are in our DNA. And actually, Angelina, from your previous tenure, from what I remember, you worked at Personio and you helped to grow organization from several hundreds people to thousands. Or if I'm not mistaken about the numbers.
No, yeah, it's not the first time leading organizations throughout massive transformation. Persona being one of them, a European unicorn that I joined when we were like around 250 employees and finished the journey with more than 2,200 collaborators distributed in many, many countries, both in Europe, but also North America as well.
Wow, this is super inspiring. But let me maybe start from the very beginning, because a fun fact about Angelina that apparently in her first job, if it was your first job or some kind of side job, you sold aspirin to Guns N' Roses. Okay, tell us the story. What actually was going on there?
Well, yeah, I do have a very unusual career path, especially at the beginning. But truth to be told, I was looking for many opportunities to earn money, to pay my studies. So one of those was actually assisting in a pharmacy, who was next to a very important hotel in South America, in Chile. And one day I was just literally like cleaning or moving the medicines around when a few very tall and shaggy males show up and ask for an aspirin. So of course, I went there. I sold aspirins, and then my boss show up and said, "Did you know who were they?"
Mhm.
And he confirmed that actually they were the Guns N' Roses. Pretty much, I believe, hangover, looking for some aspirins at the next morning because we were just the pharmacy next to one of the most important hotels in Santiago, Chile. So yeah, fun fact, I could say I sold aspirins to the Guns N' Roses.
Well, who could say that, right? You definitely. But then your career developed differently because I know that you also have a background in psychology, but your life is closely connected with music. Um, could you just tell us about the starting point of your career journey?
Exactly. So basically, how did I become an HR director today at Semrush? Well, started with my aim to pursue my dreams. Earlier in my career, those dreams were associated to the music. I went to the Conservatory of Music in Chile to study violin, and I went and attended for many, many, many years. Well, all the time trying to make additional incomes, like working selling Esther to Guns N' Roses and things like that. But primarily my career was focused on music. I really enjoy the experience of playing on an orchestra
Mhm.
and kind of becoming something else, something more by just collaborating with several musicians. But what happened is at some point in my career, I realized that perhaps I wanted to have that connection with people, but perhaps not necessarily through the music. And I was searching for other types of connections. And that's why I decided to quit my career as a violinist and start my studies as a psychologist. The funny thing there is I didn't have money didn't have the resources to go to university. So I ended up applying, of course, for scholarships, which helped and supported through that career. But I ended up becoming a street musician, uh, playing violin in the streets of Chile to pay and fund my studies as a psychologist. Thanks to that, I become the first professional in my family. Um, and then of course my brother and sister follow after me. But this is how the transition started. In psychology, you know, I had a successful study and career there, but earlier I discovered that perhaps the scope of the impact was wrong. I was still feeling that kind of high of becoming something more while connecting with multiple people. And the one-on-one interaction for psychology, I did not feel that completely fulfilled me. So quickly, super earlier in my career, within the first 6 months, I made the decision to say I want to do what I do, but on a different scope. So I tried to change my career and switch to apply psychology to workplace. And here, at that time, I was also part of a gamer community. University years,
So many things going on.
music, gamers. And then I started connecting while studying psychology with the world of the IT. As most of my friends were software engineers, pursuing their career. And at
Mhm.
that time, we didn't have online servers. We kind of have to meet in person in one of the computer labs at the university
Yeah.
to play games. So when I started searching for how to apply psychology into the workplace, I learned about applying psychology, organizational psychology principles. And then I started working on a transition to that career. So once I landed on my first job in companies, I think I was lucky to, number one, land in a job that I have to build a company from 0 to 1,000 and a transportation organization. And it was something I absolutely, absolutely love. So the next job was, okay, now I feel that I have the experience. And now what would be the type of organization that I do enjoy the most? And there, the gamer community inspired me to apply to the tech industry. So when I landed in that tech industry, my first job, tech side, I absolutely felt that this is the place where I want to be. This is the role I want to do and I want to grow through. And since that moment, super earlier in my career, I have worked only for the tech industry now for many, many, many years, doing what I love the most, which is HR. which is
Mm.
becoming and helping to become something more by working with people.
This actually super inspiring because look, this meeting with Guns N' Roses was a little bit symbolic, I guess, in your career. Yeah. Little did you know at this point that you would become a musician performing violin on stage and also on the streets to make your first money. And secondly, psychology, right? Like, not many people probably connect psychology directly with HR, although it makes so much sense to me. A good
It
psychologist
does.
is a good HR person.
It does, Jana. It does. And I also learned, like whatever decision I made, in terms of I want to
Mhm,
be a violinist. Well, there's many ways to become a violinist and many type of performance a violinist could do. Same with psychology. Is
mhm,
such a field that has a variety of applications. So what I did is I started specializing into organizational psychology primarily. So I would say I worked really hard to gain the experience to land in the right opportunity, but I pursue the further
mhm.
education into that line. So that's why, after working a couple of years for the tech industry, I decided to um, to go to my next steps in the career, which is learn way more about organizational psychology. And I did that by
Mhm.
moving to United States,
Okay.
applying again, and learning English, uh, you know, um, and taking that move as an opportunity to pursue higher education there. So yes, I
Yeah.
got a second master's degree there in United States, to keep
Mhm.
evolving and learning more about how to help organizations thrive throughout their people.
Okay. And how has this path been, for you so far? Because path in tech could be a little bit, especially as a woman in tech, it could be a little bit lonely. I don't want to put words into your mouth, but that's what I'm hearing. But again, I think it might be different for you because you were from the very start surrounded by like-minded people, and you say that you entered the tech world through this gaming community. How do you perceive this way?
Yeah. So here, Jana, when I was in Palo Alto in the Bay Area, working for a fintech company there, I remember that I attended a lot of like meetups where females in tech were kind of giving their testimony, and I remember this female CEO of a tech company saying that her career has been a very lonely path, because
Okay. Yeah.
she kind of felt that there were too many peers to talk about sometimes of the
Mhm.
difficulties that she was having as a female, but also as a female within tech. And here, for everyone listening, I'm talking about a few years ago, right? When absolutely I can tell you, there was a massive gap in terms of the female presence
Mhm.
into the tech industry. And I remember that her reflection really, really resonated in me, um, because I also felt like that in
Mhm.
some points. I did not have any other entrepreneurial females who were open to leave their countries, leave their comfort zone to pursue something more, right? Learning as we were going, and also landing in an industry that at that time was very difficult to be surrounded by other females
Yeah.
who also needs to complement some of them, and at some point in my career myself, to become a mother
Mhm.
and an active employee who actually wanted to both pursue a career while also, having a family. So
Yeah.
in this, I would say, lonely path, I have to also clarify that um, I did met perhaps key people around my career who kind of helped me to build at a space uh, where I could connect with mistakes, and more
Mhm.
importantly, with open questions about how I can do things better in the future. And I'm very lucky that I crossed paths with a couple people whose gift was share sharing
Yeah.
her experiences with me. Um, and I honestly think that those kind of informal mentors were absolutely key to help in this whole transition and career, to not feeling necessarily that lonely.
Mhm.
I can tell that. from that moment, I'm talking back to 2017, 2018, and until now, all the community has done an amazing job to keep bridging that gap and make it even smaller and smaller. So, um, I really hope that thanks to everyone who has worked on bridging this gap and have helped feed us to not feel necessarily that lonely along the way. You know? Someone told me, someone told me once, you take one step back to give two forward. So with that mindset, I always learn that every time I wanted to do a change in my careers, well, I need to take a toll. It will hit me somehow, but I won't get demotivated by that step back, because the whole goal is to build, consolidate, learn, so that I can put my next steps even stronger and hopefully get two steps forward. But as you said, it hasn't been easy. I think it has been a combination of um, how my husband would describe that I'm sometimes too crazy, because when I really want something, I really go for it, and it's my
That's a great quality.
something fights, but not in reality, because as you said, I would say that I was given, it was a combination of um, my aim, what I wanted to do, with the right moment when there was an opportunity popping up. Studying violin was anecdotal as well. Somebody literally show up on my door offering music classes, but I took it. And then that evolved to something that actually helped me become who I am today, right? I found my status thanks to that. But then English, right? I wanted to pursue a career, a master's, but I was lacking of the language. So I quit my dream job, moved to United States, learn English, apply for all the tests that you need to do to apply to higher education there, um, and kind of start from that point. But again, I think it was the opportunity that I decided to take. But I can tell you, don't idealize this, because it's a difficult decision. But I rather regret of something I did rather than regret of something that I never took the
100%.
chance to. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And well,
Yeah.
the same thing also with the opportunity. When I was approached by Personio, once they wanted to expand their business globally outside Germany, they wanted to open an office in Spain, in Madrid in particular. And they connected with me once I was in the Bay Area and offer, this challenge, if I was interested. And why not? Like, how many times in your life you could take part of such a transformation project that you can witness. This is once in a lifetime opportunity. So I was very excited to see if that was actually happen, or at least try, with all my aim. So at that time, my luggage was a bit heavier, because of course I had a husband and two kids. So we all decided to move from United States to Europe, landed here in Spain, and to start kind of the next path. What this journey will transform.
Yeah.
Ended up with a company as big as more than 2,000 employees after almost 5 years. And now, in this year here at Semrush, just keep hopefully contributing with the ongoing transformation now in Barcelona.
Yeah, you're definitely doing it. I can confirm to all listeners, as I'm watching this from the side. But I have one more notion. Actually, when we talk about opportunities, it's very often perceived in a difference between men and women in taking them. Of course, these are stereotypes that we're discussing here now. But I often hear that as a woman, you need to validate yourself more than a man, almost whenever the opportunity emerges. Have this happened maybe with you? Have you experienced something like that? Or is it more of a, again, like back in the day?
Well, let me say this. I think that there's still gaps to be closed. uh, uh,
Mhm.
in regards to that. I think that maternity is definitely um, one bias that we females need to address sometime or at some point at our work. Perhaps what is happening now is that that bias now is not only falling on females but also in males as well. So at least like this kind of risks or bias, it's falling to both genders. I think that that has been a
Yeah.
transformation, and as such, I think that companies are working really hard, and also government policies and so forth have been working really really hard to try to close to close that gap, to not
Mhm.
be only gender specific, but rather to ask the companies to support parents at their work, as part of a life cycle, as part of an element of a happy employee and engaged employee. It needs to also be having the right company who will support them while they're going through this very important lifetime changing events. So, in particular, to me, that was very harsh. That was a very
Yeah.
harsh moment in my life. Here to share the anecdotal situation with everyone. I was in the United States for my first pregnancy, and my boss and coworkers actually had a meeting without me just to decide if they will support my pregnancy or not.
Mm.
It was a time where there wasn't a lot of protections or regulations, and they were absolutely in the right to do it.
Yeah.
When I remember after the baby was born and everything, and I ended up setting the right infrastructure to support mothers there. With a private space, because there
Mm.
wasn't any rule where, for example, mothers breastfeeding wanted to could pump and work at the same time by having the right privacy. So I think that with those perhaps little things, I really hope that other females who actually join this journey won't have the same experience than me. But let me tell you, Jana, I was also biased with my perception because I thought that that inclusion, workplace
Mm.
why, was only for females. But let me tell you that in 2018 around, oh my god, I think that was one of the biggest failures I could call out, because I totally failed to see that this inclusion problem was absolutely beyond parenthood. And I'm gonna tell you why. I remember one day an employee on Slack share a comment to all the companies saying, "Hey, if you see myself washing my hands and my face, it's not because I'm sick, it's because I need to pray for my religion."
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and and it was for me like a moment that absolutely changed the conception of how what we are doing also to bridge these
Mhm.
gaps, and and realize that this need for a private space wasn't mothers, wasn't parents, was actually any employee who needs privacy at their workplace. And let me tell you, organization the workplace design, usually they prefer these kind of open spaces with conference rooms,
True.
classes, right? That are not necessarily providing that private space for them. So since that moment, I would say not only in that company, I changed that by creating specialized room for everyone who needs privacy, but also make
Mhm.
sure that when I landed in Personio, the design of the office in all the countries actually were offering this quiet space. In Madrid, we call it the Retiro room, which is
Oh, yes.
like a parental name, but like the retirement.
And now here are you in the position of an HR director. You actually have power and you have the tools to address it. Isn't it fantastic? It's just, it's like I'm the one who could decide. I'm the one who could improve, who would make it better. And I know that at Semrush, the HR team is also closely collaborating with the office management team on this matters when it comes to spaces, when it comes to inclusivity of spaces. And yeah, it's just fantastic to see that the experiences you've gathered throughout your career, you now can actually apply also to improve the well-being of employees.
Yeah, I would say act upon.
Mhm.
This is just definitely a turn in events that I never saw earlier in my career. That in my position, I feel really happy personally and as a professional that I have, as you said, perhaps the power of the influence to help the business either realize or apply or improve um, uh, equal opportunities for employees. And here, Jana, um, this goes beyond demographics. It goes beyond, your gender, your social and economical condition, uh, your individual and self situation as well. These absolutely go beyond purely demographics, and I'm telling you why. Because um, as an HR director, I think that if there is a constant in my entire career, has been somehow bringing equal and fair opportunities for people. Um, so then they're not necessarily where they are because the planets align. It's pure luck, but not
Yeah.
everyone with the right talent, with the right aim, with the right willingness to do something, they have the same opportunities to become who they want to become. And as such, recruiting and talent acquisition and fair and standardized processes has been one of the key elements to bring and help people, regardless of their background, to land in the right job. So they don't need a gaming community. They don't need, like external factor to help them land in what exactly they would like, other than their aim and how hard it actually wants to work for things. So it has been recruiting, it has been creating frameworks where rules are clear for everyone. So then employee could apply to internal positions or could grow and get promoted along the way
Yeah.
too. So I think that this is kind of a retrospective analysis in terms of um, what I have done during this time is not only helping organizations to grow by bringing processes, by bringing frameworks. Uh, I think that we have been able to help people to
Yeah.
to progress in their career, to land into a job, and to fully develop as a professional. Hopefully, what their goals or aims were in terms of the type of career they want. So I feel really really blessed for of course Semrush, but also for all the companies I have joined. But I think that I've been able to at least work and keep working for that. So then I can imagine how future generations, perhaps they will have. I really hope that sometime in the future they will have like a note in their history book, say like back in the times when kind of there was a movement of females trying to close these gaps. It was more an anecdotal topic. But I really hope that those generations will remember that they are there because of the hard work of many, many females and males in this process as well.
I have a question for you, a last question to ask. We are going to ask this question to all our guests at this podcast. If you have an advice, maybe from a woman along your career journey that inspired you professionally, that inspired you to become who you are or to maybe pursue your dreams or your goals.
Yeah. Well, I really hope it could be an advice or not, but um, I think that I would say that at some point in your career, you need to be a bit selfish and
Mhm.
take a time to reflect and decide what do you want to do. A moment where you can think if this is truly what you are enjoying, if
Yeah.
perhaps you're unsure of that state. Um, I think that having that moment to just reflect how you are feeling with something um, could bring the possibility for anyone to decide if this is the path they actually would like to continue.
Mhm.
And perhaps realize that if that's not the path that they aim to continue, um, that they have the power to make a change, you know?
Okay.
So, and in that regard, it's regardless of what company you are in, what role you are pursuing, it's a selfish moment to think about purely yourself. And then when you go back to where you're at, what company you are, see if you see synergies there, if you see those opportunities, if you see that perhaps in the next close future, you see yourself fulfilling all those aims. And then do something about it. Act upon it. Talk to your coworkers, talk to your boss, talk to yourself, your partner, your friends, etc. But have this selfish moment to question, um, and decide for yourself if you want to do a change, because maybe it's not late. You just need to make the decision.
Yeah, that's just such a great answer, and I see the book, in the background. You have radical candor there. It actually makes me think that it's a very fitting answer for this background for that book. It's a fantastic read. Thank you so much, Angelina. Thank you so much for being here with us, for agreeing to participate in this podcast, in this project. I think it was a fantastic pilot episode. All thanks to your energy and all thanks to all your great advice. And yeah, I wish you best of luck. It sounds a little bit silly because we still work together, we see each other, right? But of course, best of luck in your second year of tenure at Semrush to achieve even more great things together.
And that's the beauty of the IT world, that it's all the time changing. So looking
Yeah,
forward actually to those change. And thank you again, Jana, for inviting me to this podcast, and also wishing an amazing second and third episode of this
thank
series.
you. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for being with us, to listening to us, for tuning in, and we will hear each other in the next episode.